It's time for the Traci Shoblom Show.
Hello. Okay, so Traci Shoblom is outside in her backyard recording the Traci Shoblom Show because the inside of my house has descended into sheer chaos. I have 7 animals, and at the moment, 6 of them are inside, so I'm out with the one quiet one. Anyway, hello everyone. I hope we're doing well. This is Traci Shoblom. You're listening to the Traci Shoblom Show, recorded live from the sleepy little community of Glendora, nestled in the foothills of Southern California. So today what I want to talk to you guys about is a story that I heard from my friend, business partner, and the love of my life, Dr. Larry Pate. When he tells this story every semester in his classes, and I'd never heard it before, but it's an old proverb. And the story has helped me so much in terms of helping to keep perspective on the ebb and flow of life. And the story is called The Farmer and the Horse. And for those of you who've taken his class or have heard the story, keep listening because you'll hear my unique twist on it at the end. But the story goes that there was a farmer and he had a son. I'm guessing the son was, actually, given my life, the son was probably about 16 and didn't listen. So the 16-year-old son, we'll call him Mavid. So the 16-year-old son, Mavid, decided that it would be a good idea to go out into the barn and, feed the horse that they had, that there was their workhorse on the farm, to feed him some carrots. But Mavid didn't secure the gate properly, and the horse ran off. So the next day, the farmer comes out, he's getting ready to do his work, and the gate's open, there's no horse. And it's a terrible thing. That's his only workhorse. So he goes in, he yells at his son, grounds him, says, terrible things to his child. So he goes out and, has to do all the work by himself. And, his neighbors come over and they're like, why are you out here, lugging around? And he's like, well, my horse ran off. And they went, oh my gosh, that's horrible. How are you even going to do this? Your productivity's going to be down. You can't live without a horse. This is the worst thing that could possibly happen. And the farmer says, well, yeah, could be. So a couple days go by and the farmer's out there making his son do the work with him. And suddenly they hear, tromping coming from the distant mountains. And he's looking out there and he says, what is going on? And all of a sudden he sees his horse. And his horse is running back. And there's like millions and billions and trillions of horses, if you've ever read the book, Millions of Cats. So there's a ton of horses, and there are all these wild, beautiful stallions that, wanted the meal that evidently this horse had been telling him was so abundant and plentiful. So, he and the son, Mavid, round up all the horses, and pretty soon the ranch starts to look like my house with all the animals milling about. And his neighbors come by and they're like, oh my gosh, this is the best news. I can't believe this wonderful thing happened to you. Now you have all of these valuable stallions. You're going to be rich. You're a wealthy, wealthy man. The guy said, well, could be. Well, a couple days go by and, he's trying to round up these horses and figure out what to do with them all. And Mavid, being 16, decides that he's always wanted to ride a wild stallion. And so he sneaks out up against his father and his mother's wishes and attempts to ride this wild stallion that he's had his eye on because he believes that he's strong enough to handle the stallion. Well, you and I both know that he's not strong enough to handle the stallion, and he's thrown from the horse and he breaks his legs and he's laying there crying because his legs are broken. And the neighbors come by and they're like, oh my goodness, your son, he broke both of his legs. This is horrible. Now we can't help out at the farm. What's he going to do? This is just terrible news. I'm so sorry. And the guy's like, well, could be. So a few weeks go by and the kid's hobbling around on his legs and trying really hard to recover, but he's not, too mobile. And this huge incident happens. Let's maybe even call it a pandemic. And all of the eligible youth are called up to serve in the military to prevent the looting and the crime that's happening in this worldwide pandemic. But unfortunately, every citizen, every child in the village that's been called up gets the virus and gets sick, except the kid with the broken legs because he didn't go out, because he couldn't. He had to keep social distance. Okay? So the grieving, horrified, sad parents come by and they're like, all right, I hope I'm still recording. There's a little alarm telling me how lucky I am. You're so very lucky that your son was spared from this devastating thing. And the guy goes, could be. So the moral of the story, with alarms going off in the middle of it, is this. And this is, I'm going to say that I'm going to hesitate in the way I'm saying it because I don't want to sound insensitive and I don't want to sound, I don't want this to be hashtag too soon. But the fact is that we are going to get through this. We are going to go through this crazy time. And we're, as I've said a couple of days ago, we're not in control of a lot of stuff. We're not in control of what our government does, and we're not in control of the spread of the virus directly, and we're not in control of any of it. But we are in control of our attitude. We are in control of the fact that we can recognize that sometimes things that appear to be completely horrible are not, and sometimes things that appear to be completely wonderful are not. So my recommendation to everybody listening to this is A, don't hire me to tell your children stories. and B, keep a perspective about this. Breathe, be safe, be precautious, if that's even a word, and if it isn't, it should be. But also just step back and remember that this is going to pass. This too shall pass. And you have a unique opportunity to continue to be like the farmer in every area of your life so that when something good happens to you in the future, don't get overly excited and think that life is perfect and oh wow. And when horrible things happen to you in the future, don't become overly devastated and traumatized because life is literally the farmer and the horse. Good things happen, bad things happen, and our experience of them is largely determined by our frame of how we view them. So that is my brilliance for the day. Now this farmer is going to go back in and round up her horses and feed them and make sure my gates are secure. Until next time, come back, subscribe. You want your more dose of vitamin T. So come back and listen to me again for the Traci Shoblom Show. Bye, everybody.